I'm crazy about a Mercury. I'm gonna buy me a Mercury. I'll cruise it up and down.
Very nice. We're back. My first guest is an Emmy Award-winning comedian. His latest HBO special, Dennis Miller, The Raw Feed, airs Saturday night at 10. Please welcome Dennis Miller.
I always
How are you?
knew you were a star in waiting at Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, it's going to hit for me someday. I'll get there.
I remember when Conan first started Saturday Night Live, he was kind of a shy guy. He used to sit in the corner, and after around 3 weeks, you'd think, that kid is funny. Who is that over there? So I'm happy to see everything that's happened.
Yeah, I never said a word when I was there. I was petrified the whole time. I also was 6'4" and I think 150 pounds.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was a freak show.
Actually, that statue is not life-size in that it's actually shorter than you in real life.
It's shorter, and the head is sort of a cross between me and Jack Palance, I think. How are you? What did you do today? Describe your life.
Well, I went over to St. Patty's Cathedral.
Wow,
and,
beautiful cathedral.
Went to confession, walked in, said, "You first," and... And then
you might hear some stuff you don't want to hear.
Yeah. And then naturally, like everybody else, I watched war coverage. They're partying in Baghdad tonight. We got Iraq on over there.
Yeah.
Boy, I have not seen that clean a deboning since I ate at Nobu last week. That is we got a 3-week war. It took 8 weeks for Joe Millionaire to pick Zora, and he never even entered her Baghdad.
Oh, now, Dennis. I've tried to have a very classy show tonight, and now look what you've done.
Like you said, no statues. Tough day to be a pigeon in Baghdad. There's nothing left to...
They're confused,
I love the little flack for the Iraqis. That guy, is he beautiful? The public relations guy who's coming out. You can see the tank in the background, and he's saying, "Well, no, they're nowhere near the downtown area." You know, you can literally. He didn't even show up for work today. I think he's already working for Michael Jackson now.
He's had all the necessary training, but you believe that we need to get tough.
Well, listen. Look at me, I'm a wuss. But that being said, I think as a nation, periodically, you have to put your foot down and just let people know there's a line you don't go beyond. Now, who are we going to bank on? The United Nations? For God's sakes, you only have to watch one session of the General Assembly. You want to prescribe Ritalin to a glacier. They're so ineffective. France and Germany, for God's sakes. The French, after we had the good taste to chisel the armpit hair off the Statue of Liberty before we erected it.
I think they should have left it myself.
Everybody thought it was oxidized copper. Little did we know it was green with envy. Now everybody's worrying about post-liberation Iraq and who's going to take care of it. Since the French weren't on the war train, I'd call, we're going to find some dirty paper on them vis-a-vis reactor parts and favorable oil deals. And
Maybe
I think
they made with the old government. Yeah.
I think that's when Bush calls Chirac and says, "Listen, you didn't want to fight the war. Who's going to take care of the day-to-day needs of the noble Iraqi? You are, you idiot, because I think concierge is a French word, isn't it? Let them ring down to the desk for those guys." And the Germans, are you going to really bank on the Germans? You never know why the Germans don't want to get on board. Maybe they don't agree with the war. Maybe it's not on a grand enough scale.
They have contempt for our little war. We don't think big enough.
You get the Germans in there and tell them, "Well, we've toppled the statue. This war might be over there." No, we must liquidate every Iraqi.
Now, this is a bit of a grim subject, but there's people that worry that now we're going to be in a world of, suicide bombers and people that are willing to give their life to cause trouble.
Well, listen, they existed before this. They're going to exist after this. Other than the bombs they strap to their chest, I have absolutely no idea what makes suicide bombers tick. But I will say this: I think it must have something to do with the virgins. Obviously, they're promised in the next life, and I'm not sure that 72 virgin thing is as good as it sounds. 7 or 8 virgins, yeah, it's probably fun. You get around 10 virgins in, Conan, I'm thinking you're going to want a pro.
You probably just talked a lot of them out of it.
I like the befuddled thing as much as the next guy, but when I'm in the kill zone, I want somebody who's pulled the pin in the grenade,
Now, wait a minute. The kill zone? Do you mind if I use that phrase from now on?
No.
I'm telling you, fellas, I was in the kill zone. Now, what about, of course, a lot of people who oppose this war are saying, listen, there's a huge negative backlash internationally. We should worry about that. What do you think?
There is anyway, Conan. For God's sake, look at 9/11. How much worse is it going to get than that backlash they keep talking about? Listen, you have to remember, we're going to have to protect ourselves now. It's time to circle the SUVs because America is simultaneously the world's most loved, hated, admired, and feared nation in the world. In short, we're Frank Sinatra. And you know something?
That's a cool way to put it.
The chairman did not make his bones lying down for punks outside the Fontainebleau.
Right.
And we also have to let other people know we're not to be trifled with. I view Iraq as East Korea because I think this war is for the edification of Kim Jong-il and his Kim Jong-il. They say heat and sand make glass, and quite frankly, that desert should look like Superman's dad's apartment on Krypton now. Then you just look over at Kim Jong-il and say, hey, you really want a piece of this? Huh? He's the guy that's the most bizarre-looking man in the world. He has to be ruthless because you don't usually get to lead a country when you look that bizarre. He's like the Buddy Holly of the Pan-Pacific Rim. What's with the hair? He's like a Chia dictator, I hope when somebody eventually blows that head off, they have the good sense to put it in a jar and bring it back home because I know I'd pay a nickel to see that up close in a tent.
Good Lord! But how do you really feel?
The unbelievable thing is I shot this special in Chicago around 3 weeks and 5 days ago. Literally, that's how fast things happen now. In the special, I'm talking about, boy, we might have to go into Iraq. Not only have we gone in, it's over almost. In the space of 3 weeks, people are going to watch the special Saturday night and go, what is he, nuts, for God's sake? Did he fall asleep at the switch? But simple fact was, at that time, you didn't quite know how it was going to be. I had a feeling that when we got within 20 miles of the elite Republican Guard, all you would see was Roadrunner clouds heading off into the distance. But, you don't want to say it at that time.
Now, it's not you're not just worked up about the world situation and internationally. You're also you're worked up about some things that are happening in this country.
Domestically, we've got other serious problems.
You're a big fan of tort reform or putting lawyers on a leash?
Shakespeare said first kill all the lawyers, and I've been doing some thinking, and I think we could get away with it because if we killed all of them, we wouldn't have adequate representation at our murder trial, and we could all walk. The simple fact is now overweight Americans are going to sue fast food places. I know they've done it once. It's been kicked out, but they're going to try it again. And, it's just unbelievable to me that we have these lawsuits. Now they're going to sue the big three automakers. They say that the seatbelts in the cars don't fit around their waist.
I read about that,
folks, if you can't get the seatbelt in a car around your waist, a head-on collision is like the least of your health concerns, all right? Why don't we just fill the... Why don't we just fill the airbag with a soft, edible nougatine so you can snack your way out of the wreck, okay? How's that?
They'll be crashing on purpose. Now, of course, I've heard different people talk about, alcohol and their acting. You have a very interesting take on alcoholism.
Well, there's a couple things I say in the special I had to get off my chest. Now, I think alcoholism is a disease, but that being said, it's a great disease. Even when you have a relapse, you get some fun out of it. What's up with you, Jimmy? I got my disease again. I'm riddled with it, man. No, I'll heal up tomorrow. Let's do some therapeutic jello shots, brother.
Never heard that take, and I'm buying it. Dennis Miller, The Raw Feed premieres Saturday night at 10 on HBO. Dennis, real thrilled to see you again. Thank you very much. Dennis Miller, John Corbett coming up. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, we are Fine show tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to tune in tomorrow night from the new movie Anger Management. Mr. Adam Sandler is going to be here. That's right. And musical guest Sahara Hot Night. So watch that show. That's going to be